So, you're interested in 3D modeling and you're wondering where to begin. Well, don't worry, because I'm going to show you everything you need to know to create your first model in Blender 3D. Let's get started. Now, just in case you don't already have it, you are going to need Blender. Go to blender.org. Normally, I'd recommend downloading an LTS version. These are basically the stable versions of Blender. Okay, onto navigation. Once you open the viewport, you'll find a default cube. You can hold down middle mouse button and drag on the viewport to rotate around. To pan the viewport, hold down Shift, hold down the middle mouse button, and drag. To zoom in and out, you can either use the scroll wheel, which scrolls in increments, or you can hold down Control and drag the middle mouse button. Now that we can move the viewport, let's move our object. Press G, and the object will basically snap to your mouse, and you can move it anywhere in your view. 3D space can be broken down into 3 different axes. In Blender, we have Y, which is the depth, we have X, left to right, and Z, which is your vertical axis. Now to move this object with a little bit more precision, let's try pressing G and then Z. We're now going to be moving that on the Z axis, so we're moving it up and down. If we type in G and then X, we're moving it on the X axis. And if you type in G and Y, you guessed it, you can also open up a gizmo by clicking on the move icon on the left here, which is going to allow you to drag by the handles, which you might be a little bit more familiar with if you're moving from a different software. You can reset the position of your object by opening the item panel on the right hand side and typing 0 into all of the transforms. Rotation and scale are very similar. So to rotate, I'm going to press R, RZ, and you also have a gizmo for rotate. And lastly, we've got S to scale. Before we model our first item, there are a couple of other things I want to mention. So up the top left here, this is where you can find the modes. For now, we only need to worry about the edit mode. So click on that one, and now we've opened the modeling tools. 3D models are made up primarily of vertices, edges, and faces. By default, we're selecting vertices. Let's change this to the face selection mode. Now we can play around with the tools. A common tool you'll use in 3D modeling is extruding. On the left here, click on this icon. You'll be able to extrude in the direction of the face. You can extrude more than one face by holding Shift, clicking on multiple items, and then extruding out that way. You can also press E to extrude. For more options when you're extruding, you can press Alt-E. That way you can actually extrude individual faces. Let's move on to the next tool, which is Insert Faces. Personally, I prefer to press I to insert faces. A window will pop up in the bottom left, and this is where you can change the thickness of the insert. And you can also change the depth, which is going to push it away from the mesh. Next, we have the bevel tool. If you click on that one and you drag this yellow bar, you'll bevel the edges. As you're dragging, you can also scroll the mouse wheel to add more loops in the bevel. Next, we have Loop Cut. This is how to easily cut a loop around your object. Alternatively, you have the Knife tool. You can click on a point on the mesh and you can basically cut it however you like. It's good modeling practice to have a maximum of 4 sides for any face. If your face has 5 sides or more, it's called an n-gon, and typically game engines don't like this kind of geometry. You can use the multi-cut tool to remove n-gons. So for example, I have one right here. Click on this point, click on that point, and now we have a 4-sided face, which is much better. There are a few more options in the panel here, but those are the main ones to use as a beginner. Let's delete this very strange object. And we're going to do a fun exercise and make a little mug. So to add a new object, it's up here in the top panel. We go Add. There's plenty of different options in here of items you can add. We're going to choose a cylinder. Press G, Z to lift it up to the ground. We're going to go to Edit Mode, Face Select. Click on this top face here, and we'll press I to insert the face, and then move this inwards to add some thickness. We'll press E to extrude and drag this down, and we'll then click on this button right here to change to Wireframe Viewport Shading Mode. This means we can see inside our object. We want to press G and then Z to move this down a bit further until it's relatively close to the base. We'll go back to solid shading mode, this icon up here, and we're still under edit mode. We're going to click on the edge select. We want to select the edges of these entire loops. So hold down Alt, double click, then keep Alt selected, hold down Shift as well, and click on the next loop over. We're going to add a bevel to these, so press Ctrl B and just drag this out a little bit. And remember, you can use the mouse wheel to reduce the number of loops. Now I'm going to use the loop cut tool and I'll add a loop here. I'm going to increase the number of cuts as well. I'll make it 5 cuts. Now I'm going to look at the top of the mesh by pressing Z in that gizmo. And I'll just select these faces, then rotate the camera to the side just so that I know where this edge is. Now I'm going to select multiple faces by holding down Shift and clicking on these two, and then these two as well. I'm going to press E to extrude them out along the normals. And then I'll actually press Delete to get rid of those faces. I'll go into Edge Select mode and hold down Alt and click on this edge. Then, while still holding down Alt, I'm going to hold down Shift and click on this other edge. So I've got 2 edge loops selected. Now I'm actually going to bridge these 2 together. So right click on it and bridge edge loops. Now we're going to increase the number of cuts. So let's make this about 8 cuts. And it looks pretty weird at the moment. Let's change the interpolation to blend surface. I'm not entirely happy with the way this looks, so I'm going to adjust it a little bit. If you go to the wireframe view in the top right, you can actually select through the model. So if I click on X here and go to orthographic mode, and I'm in face select mode, I can drag and select the entire handle, but I also want to move the rest of the topology as well. So I'm going to hold down Alt and Shift and click on these edge loops, and hold down Alt and Shift and click on these 2 edge loops. Then I can press S and Z to scale this up and to make that handle a little bit bigger. I can add another edge loop to my handle with this loop tool. And I'm going to select it by clicking on this edge right here, holding down Control, and then holding down Shift, clicking on the first edge here, holding down Control, and clicking in these 2 places. Now I'll press SX to just widen that a little bit. And there you go, you've made a low poly mug. To make this smooth, just click on your object, go to object mode, go to object, and then shade smooth. We want to put a multi-res modifier on this, but first we want to add a little bit of support. We're going to drag a loop cut here to the base, and here at the top. And for the base, we're actually going to go to face mode, and just press I to inset this, just a little bit, and then insert it again. And we're actually going to delete this face, press Alt, click on this edge loop, press E to extrude, press S to scale it in, and then press M at center to actually merge that all together so that it's made up of triangles, not one big n-gon. We can do the same for the base of the mug inside. This is making it more suitable for use in video games. So inside the mug, we'll hold down Alt, click that inside edge loop, we'll press E to extrude, we'll press S to scale it in, and then we'll press M at center to merge. Now when we go to generate multi-resolution and we subdivide, it will hold up the shape a lot better. We can change the material now, change the color, maybe reduce the roughness to make it shiny. If you're interested in more 3D modeling tutorials, be sure to subscribe to my channel. I've got a lot more coming soon, and we're going to start to make some more advanced things like characters, so stay tuned.